Hey guys, what's going on out there? Love them knives. Love them knives here. We've got the Vosteed Ankylo, and this is a new knife from Vosteed. And it's a front flipper, it's a top flipper, it's an interesting knife, and this is a pivot button lock. They call this the V-Anchor lock, okay? And it's on Kickstarter. You can go on Kickstarter and order one of these, and they're like 169 bucks, 159. I think they had an early bird thing. I just got done ordering mine not too long ago. And so I just stuck a bunch of pages together here, but this is the Kickstarter thing. So I'll give you the link to the Kickstarter. The V-Anchor lock in the storm of change, one pivot, double friction, triple deployment, unlimited fun. And so you can check, and they've got a bunch of, you can pledge, et cetera, et cetera. And here's the different types that you can get. Okay, I did this, 159 bucks. I'm getting one of them. And you know what? I'm going to message UA at Vosteed, because it's like I ordered, but it didn't ask me what color or style I wanted. So I think that's coming, once they get funded. I think they got funded. They hit their funding level 30 minutes in. But I mean, once they wrap up to go to production, I think these are supposed to ship out in June. Okay. So the 7th of April to early June. So May, June, like 2 months. Okay. So Ankylo, estimated delivery June. Okay. Ships only to certain countries, but we happen to be a certain country that we are good. And so check this out. 3.2 inch blade, aluminum, multiple deployments, all that kind of stuff. And you can get them in different colors and blade, black or regular, and grippy, adjustable, blah, 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 no problem. Okay, so we're going to do a disassembly on this one, even though it may be a bit redundant, but I haven't done a disassembly on this. But Stasa did, I think Knives did, blah, 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 whatever. Maybe Metal Complex or Lefty EDC. And Lefty EDC also did a cutting test. He also batoned the knife to check how redundant or how strong the lock mechanism is, which is very strong, okay? And so he's got a magnet in here to make sure the button is recessed when the blade is closed. So more security there from being released, et cetera, et cetera. And then this is a kind of a look of the lock mechanism, which may be a little confusing until you see some of the disassemblies on there, that kind of thing. And Bowler, of course, this is LMAX, okay, is what this is with aluminum. Here's your stats, under 8 inches overall length, 3.2 inch blade, flat grind, that kind of thing. Here's your thickness. Here's your weight is under 5 ounces. It's not bad. It's kind of a thick little brick. And here's your things. I think the early bird's done flown the nest, so I got in on the next, right? Okay, so that kind of deal. And so I just wanted to throw this at you, and this is a project timeline. Assembly, quality, June, blah, 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 shipping. Okay. You got it? You got it? And so there was an exploded view on his Instagram that showed kind of how this whole thing, there's a lock bar here that goes in here, and there's screws in the back. So this is the way you got to take it apart, because there's no pivot screw up here, up front, to do this, okay? So you got to kind of, and V-Anchor, I don't know, Vanker? Is that a Vanker? Okay, and a little bit closer, I just blew this up a little bit so you could kind of get a little bit of a look at, this is anchored back here, okay? And then this little bar comes in and kicks into that notch, that little notch in the blade there, and holds it in place. So you got a solid steel arm here that pops in right into that notch and holds it. I mean, on both sides, right? So this little plate goes into this area, and this one kicks on there, and then there's a little detent ball, blah, 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 right there. Okay, see how that goes? Okay, but we'll do a disassembly. So now that I have bored the shit out of you by showing you that paperwork, but I just thought it's easier than, I mean, I guess I could be real fancy and just throw it right up on my screen. Boop, here it is. Boop, boop. But, you know, I'm old-fashioned, so there we go. Now, fidget, boom, drops right down, fidget friendly, boom, 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 that kind of thing. Now, I think this, see this? Watch this. If I don't get off of this pretty quick, like light switch, but get my finger to move out of the way, like that, okay, then I'm going to have issues because of this front flipper is coming around, okay, and it's going to start interfering. It's going to stop the blade from moving. So you got to get your finger out of the way when you flick it, because you do have a front flipper. And so then if you got a front flipper, here's the thing. When you flip it, you can catch yourself here too. So you kind of got to anticipate getting your hand back away from that area. So there's that. And then this is very muted, and you got to just flick it back. You will not be able to push button this, okay? No. And you got to light switch it like that. But stroke it and get out of the way. Boom! You know, just like this. And you know what? Maybe it wouldn't have hurt to get a little bit more flipper tab. Or it's, you know, on the flip side, just maybe getting used to the fact that this is a lot more muted. And so you need to be a little bit more intentional about how you stroke that tag, you know, that tab. And really, the front flipper is very easy to do, and it's jimped as well, so you can do that. Okay, so that may take a little work. I keep missing the flip here a little bit here and there until I just kind of really focus on what I'm doing, and then I'm okay. And then, you know what? But this is what I do right here. This is what I do. I just kick it with my middle finger, and then I don't have to worry about anything being in the way here, right? Because I'm just like this. There's nothing sitting in the way of these rotating. Boom. So as far as I'm concerned, and I just love to do this, middle finger flick. It's so easy, then so easy to return it, and your fingers are not in the way because it's a button lock, and so you don't have to worry about it, okay? So that works for me really well. And it seems like it's a bit of a chunky monkey, but am I dreaming, or is it? Yeah, it is a little bit of a chunky monkey. 0.55 as opposed to like a 0.45, which is what your paramilitary 2 is, right? The PM is 0.46, 0.45. So this is definitely a thicker little dog than your PM2. So it's gonna, you know, it's gonna be in your pocket. It's gonna be a little bit, Joey. And you know what? So take a look at this as well and think to yourself, here's my grams. Okay, so 139, 140 grams, whatever you want to go about. And then ounces. Okay, 4.92 ounces. Okay, so this is under 8 inches. This little dog is 8.25 inches overall length, right? And yet it's 3.8, okay? This is 4.9, so this is over an ounce heavier, but it's not as big a knife, and it's definitely thicker, okay? So when I was saying chunky monkey, yeah, it's a bit of a chunky monkey, it is, okay? I mean, that's just what it is. So different knives are different in different ways, but there you go, okay? So it's a smaller knife, but it's thicker, it's chunkier, and you know what? I think part of the whole thing is the fact that you kind of got to be that way with this lock. Maybe. I don't know. I didn't design it, but just looking at it, and you know, you may be saying to yourself, Riot has that PLXT model, right? Which is floating around here somewhere. God only knows. But look at my video on the PLXT, right? Because I did a disassembly of that too, including that pivot. And this is not that, okay? This is different than the PLXT. And so that's interesting in itself that both these locks came out just recently, okay, kind of back to back. Yet they are very different in nature. Now, this one, and I think Lefty did spine whack on his as well. And I don't have anything I really want to whack it against, to tell you the truth, sitting around here. But no, this is pretty solid. Okay, and if I was going to do that, I'd definitely make sure my hands out of the way. Okay, but I think it survived very well. And you know what? It probably has, because you've got this chunk going in here, slipping right into the notch of that blade. So you're either going to have to break off this steel lock bar or do something to break the pivot area around the blade, which that ain't going to happen. So you'd have to rip that lock bar to shreds. So I think you're pretty solid in there, actually, on that. But LMAX, we got LMAX. So let's see, let's cut it up. Okay. Yeah, it's got a decent edge on it. Of course, this is a prototype, right? So, yeah. LMAX. Oh, you know what? Maybe this is a bad edge of the paper or something. I don't know. There we go. Yeah, so it is what it is. Yeah. LMAX. Like LMAX myself, so I'm happy with that. And of course, it's aluminum, so it ain't gonna rust. And it's durable. And aluminum's lightweight overall, so we're good there. And you know, if you're gonna take this apart, guess what tool you need for that? Good luck. I don't know either. You got to take it apart like this, because that's the only screw I see there. But yeah, ergos. See, I'm sitting back here a ways. I'd say this makes more sense to me, kind of. If you do this, which is maybe a bit more intuitive, you do have room for all your fingers, but I feel like I'm back behind this blade a long way. You can move up into this area here, so your second finger, and you can go like that. But you know what? It just depends on what you're cutting, right? I mean, if you're going to pick the label off of this thing, then, you know, here's how I'm going to hold it, right? Like this. So, okay, we can do that, right? And if you're cutting cardboard, you may want your hand back away from the medium that you're cutting. So there you go with that. So it just depends. Bing, just drops right down, doesn't it? And you know what? One thing that they did point out in their paperwork on the Kickstarter deal is look at the button. It's below grade here, right? With this collar around it. Okay. And see, that magnet in there makes contact, and it pulls this button in to where, it doesn't stick up and out. So you won't accidentally hit it and do that, right? Let the blade go. You're not likely to, at least, right? Okay. But, okay, finally. Woo! Well, that took some doings, didn't it? Okay, so now, of course, it is above grade, which is good because you need to press it in to drop it. Yeah, let me turn this around. Okay, so we did that. The detent is pretty good on this, okay, because I can't just, when it's really light, you can do this. And I barely got it to do like this. Now, most knives will when you do that, because I don't know, you just have more snap to be able to do that. So, no, I think the detent is just fine. It's just fine. So, there's that. And let me throw the tape on this because we did compare it. It's supposed to be about 3.2 inch blade if you don't run the tip of the blade through the measuring. Okay, so yeah, when you run up here, and it's hard to see black on black there, right? Yeah, it is like 3.2 something. And down here, more like 3.35 maybe, okay? At about what, 82, 83 millimeters, and then up here closer to 80 millimeters. And then 7 3/4 inch at 19.5 centimeters. Okay. Oh, we never did check out the blade stock, did we? Okay. 0.13 at 3.3 millimeters. Okay. So pretty stout blade stock on here as well. So, you know, the design flow is nice. Of course, this has to be there because it's a front flipper. Blade to handle length. Well, yeah, maybe we could have eked out another 1/16, something like that on here. I'm just saying maybe. Maybe. Okay. So maybe we could have made it, instead of 3.18, we could have made it 3.25, something like that. But we didn't lack much there, okay? So here she'd be, and it doesn't look disproportionate, you know. So it does look good that way as well. And you got jimping up here, so that's good, and that's comfortable. Okay, where is it hanging fire as far as balance goes? Right there. Right there. Okay. So, boy, that's a big old collar right there, isn't it? And then look at that standoff. Jeez. And then there's a stop that's, wow, hold on. Where are we going around and banging into that? Right there. Can we reach? Can we touch? Nope. Okay. So this will be interesting to actually disassemble and see where we're going. But it's kind of nice to see Vosteed do, you know, LMAX and do the kind of higher end, and then coming out with a very creative button pivot lock, right? So I think that's interesting too. The V-Anchor. So now that we're thinking about it, let's do this and see where we go from here. And let's get the Beauty and the Beast out, okay? And see where we're going to go with this. So we've transitioned into a disassembly, haven't we? And you know what? That's a number 6. That's a number 6 on these little dogs. Okay, so, okay, we can do that. Okay. Bingo bango, that's good. And this being a prototype, you never know what you're going to be running into here. I didn't know if they would have locked things down really, really super tight or not. And you know, let me think about this. I don't know if I need to disassemble or take the pocket clip off. Let me look at these screws one at a time as they come out and see if any are shorter or longer than the others. Cool, baby. Woo. Okay. You're doing your thing. You're doing your thing. Okay, let's just loosen this one up, which was not difficult. I was ready for a struggle, but it didn't give me one. Those look the same. Okay. So let's see if we got something different here. You know what? I think this is going to come up. Okay. So let's push this back through, or, wow, that's not doing that easily, is it? Let's see if we can push this back through here. Nah? No, you don't want to do that. Okay, you're going to, God, I couldn't. Okay, if you're just going to hang there and not do anything. Well, come on. No, that's not even tiny enough to go in there. Okay, so what we do have is probably something that is tiny enough to go in there. Let's try this. Because I'm going to be very insistent about Wow, it's almost like it didn't completely unscrew. So we're gonna, oh, there it goes. Okay, so now let's compare to this. Is that different? Let's look at these 3 screws. There's that. There's that. Those look the same. There's that. That's shorter. Okay, so this one in the middle of the body is shorter. These 2 on the body are the same size. Okay, so this one here is shorter and these are longer. Okay, that's interesting. Okay, so what do we got here? Okay, well, we got ourselves a mess that just fell apart. Now, this cap piece just came off, okay, because it came off of here, right? It was sitting down in here, okay, and it was in a certain orientation, but I'm not going to worry about that right now, okay? Interesting. Okay, so here's our lock bar, right? So then this button that comes through from the front disengages it from the blade, and then otherwise, no, it doesn't. And then this comes up. Okay, now let me see what we got. We know we got a magnet in here somewhere, and then we've got bearings here. Okay, so there's the bearings, ceramic bearings, okay. All right. And it looks like the open side of the bearings towards the blade, okay. And then we got goop. We got the goop, okay. But when we had this, and this blade opens, okay, there's how it, there's where it meets it. And you know what? This little area in between here, it doesn't do that. It does it. No, it's this block of steel right there that's securing that. And then this is all secured back here with the pocket clip screws that are going in here, plus these other 2 body screws. It's all securing the anchor of the lock. V-Anchor lock. Okay, there it is. And so that's your little detamp ball too that's coming in when this is closed like that. So, oh, and so, yeah, and there's your duh, and there's your thing. So that somehow sticks in there. There. So when it comes out, then it surpasses this detamp ball, flicks open, the button up here, this catches it, and it's locked in place. Okay, there's that. There's that. Oh, here's the little, yeah, this little deal right here that I believe, well, this pulled that off, didn't it? Pulled it off from over here. But that's just an extra piece here that is involved here, right in here. Okay, I get you. Okay, so there's that and that. There's a little collar here. You can see that very easily on here. And then this big old standoff here. And that, this is skeletonized. This is the liner on this side. Obviously, this is the stop, which this rolls around and bango, it hits that. That's your stop, okay. And then we've got this. Now, okay, so what's going on here? These are your bearings again on the other side, and this is your whole mechanism on this side, okay. And so this, all this does is it goes to fill this void here and trap this, you know, here, okay? So right here, okay? And what are we doing? Come on, baby. Oh yeah, and definitely, yeah, it's definitely a magnet. And so this being steel attracts this magnet, which normally, we push that button out. See, the button is out here on this side, but as it comes in, did you see it just jump right in? Okay, so we push it back out like that with the aluminum part, and there it is. But as soon as it comes and it attracts to this steel, boom, it just shoots right in. There, it shot right in. Okay, so that keeps that button from hanging too far out. And there's your little standoff there. So this is pretty simple little deal here. This is just a button with a magnet, okay? And it gets sucked in, and obviously it has a little flange or something that only lets it get sucked in so far. So here's our bearings. And you know what? It's kind of some heavy stuff on here, but I'm not going to purge them. I'm just going to put a little bit. I mean, this thing's floating so easy anyhow, it probably doesn't matter much. So I'm just, come on, give me a drop, give me a drop. I can't see where the drops are going into because it's so easy for them to just disappear in there. And then I'm going to wipe this down really good and get this just wiped off. Okay, there we go. And so we can put this on, right? And then we can put the bearings on this side. And, you know, I mean, it's not like we need 5 tons of lubrication on ceramic bearings. Just saying. But as I lubricate them, I spin it around. Yeah, these bearings are very similar to the PLXT from Riot, okay? And then just put this little piece right on top. Okay, just set it down. We're good. And then this just pops right in, okay? Right like that. I reckon. Oh, and oh, by the way, just in case, you might want to put this back on. I mean, I'm just, you know, what the hell, just for shits and giggles, right? And, okay, are we set down? We're set down. Now, we got to put this little doodly doodle right down here, and we got to make sure we line these holes up with the screw holes. And we kind of are not, okay? Okay, now, that's not a 6, that's a 5. So this is a 6, and we can pick up these little dogs if they're magnetic, and they should be, but it's not picking them up. Okay. 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 We're good there. And now that we got that located, we're pretty much a shoe-in for the other, which is clear over here dancing around. Okay. Okay. What you thinking? And I'm snugging them up. I'm not trying to crank on them too much. And then we got number 8. And we have one that's much shorter and 2 that are the same length. And so these 2 that are the same length go back here, right? And then they go up here, right here, all the way up here. Those are the ones that we could knock out easily, and then that middle one was just fighting us. But it's actually a different length screw as well. And so this is more of a little shorty. So just make note, short stubby guy goes in the middle, and just like that. And here we go. Okay. Now, does cranking down on it really change? Well, it could maybe, huh? If you don't give it a little bit of lax. So let's take these screws and just, I don't know my own strength, I guess. I didn't think I had that much. Okay, let's do that. Let me see if that makes a difference. Oh yeah, it makes a big difference. Okay, so yeah, I guess you can control how this thing drops by doing that, but I just backed them off just a little. And you know what? I didn't want to. Yeah, I mean, these are snug enough, okay? Okay, these are snug enough, okay. And you know, just to be sure, you may want to, put a little bit of thread locker or something in on that. But there you go. All right. So here's what the label says. On the box I got, of course, it's, obviously prototype. And here's the actual box that came in it, okay? But I mean, some of these prototypes went out to different reviewers, right? Not just me, but Stasa 23 and Knives and Metal Complex and Lefty EDC and God only knows who else. So, I mean, so he put it in a pretty much as it probably would come type package, right? He's got some stretch goals on his Kickstarter, so there will be some other things that will be available based on how many people sign up for one of the Ankylo knives. And definitely, I did, even though I've got this prototype, I would really like to have either the blue one with no frag or the silver one with frag, okay, myself. So here it is, and it's centered up, and it's fidget friendly, and it could be yours. Just kick on the Kickstarter. Just remember, we love them knives. You guys stay sharp.